So let's get this out of the way right away. That kind of sums it up. I'm massively jet lagged right now. I got off a plane about 6 hours ago. I did ups and downs for Raw, get check out What Culture Wrestling. Now I'm sitting down to do my own. We're just going to have a casual chat about sports entertainment. But my gosh, I was still able to watch that Monday Night Raw while I was in the air, basically, which was super duper fun. And what amazing modern times we're living in. I don't even care, man. You come yell at me, go, I'm positive about everything. You bet your baloney I am. That was one of, if not the best Raw of the year. That's bookended by two very specific things, right? New Day is number one, if we're going to rank them, which we shouldn't do because comparison is the thief of joy. And that opening segment with CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn and everyone else was also an absolute treat. But I do want to talk about Big E, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. You should all go and watch this now. Nothing I can say can ever do it justice, but there's just a few things that kind of rub me in my tum-tum. Terrible phrasing, that I did want to discuss. The first of which is, it could be, I don't want to call it a swerve, because I think sometimes swerve has a negative connotation, not Swerve Strickland, one of the wrestlers of the year. But in terms of twists and, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming, it was way better than all of that. Because it always made sense. And sometimes, especially you go back to the Attitude Era, we just did stuff because, I didn't see it coming. But then you go to bed at night going, well, that didn't make sense. That was 2 + 2 = potato. But what most of us, I assume, and I know there'll be one guy that got it, good for you, I'll come give you a cookie. But what most of us expected was Big E returns and they all get together again, or Big E returns and he can't, repair the puncture and Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods break out. Well, Big E did return, but it turned out he was going to be, I'm laughing. Because if I don't laugh, I'll cry. I have water coming out of my seeing devices. It did turn out the biggest of E's was going to be the target of all of this. And even though he said, I'm going to come back, I'm not medically cleared, but I'll be your manager, Kofi and Xavier, and let's not forget, who have been the biggest of all baby faces for 6, 7, maybe not 8 years, it's probably too long, but for a good 6 years, were like, no, man, you were never here for us before we started to fall out. You've picked your other life after you got injured, and who even cares? I couldn't believe it that you broke your neck because Steve Austin came back, and Edge came back, and Kurt Angle came back, Woods came back from his destroyed Achilles tendon, he got surgery, you couldn't even be bothered to do that. Now, none of this works, of course, if Big E just goes, ha ha ha, you guys are so funny. He was heartbroken, and he tried to hug Kofi Kingston, and Kofi Kingston said no. Listen, I'm not trying to pigeonhole people here. Xavier Woods has always had that kind of heelish tendency to him. He played a trombone, for goodness sake. But Kofi was always the good as a good guys. Now, I do not want to cast aspersions on him and go, he could never play the heel, because that's not true. We should never say it to any performer, and we should give them the benefit of the doubt. But to see him be such an asshole, which we've kind of seen on Up, Up, Down, Down, right? We just have. If you know, you know. If you don't know, don't worry about it. But to go so full into it here, and don't worry about the comedy, and don't worry about the hee ha ha wink wink nudge at the camera, and to take something as real as somebody breaking their neck and being out of the ring for 2, 3, 4 years maybe? It's been a long time with Big E. I may have been exaggerating there, but you take my point. And to see Big E, the nicest, most inspirational, lovable, I want to give you a hug man, walk away dejected because his 2 friends had turned on him. And then, this is the real thing that maybe we're not talking about enough, for Kofi and Xavier to use that as the glue at the jail to bring them back together. That is Schadenfreude, at the very least, not really the right word at all, but I thought it was wonderful. And again, I never saw it coming. I didn't expect them to go in this direction, and for them to deliver it in the way that they did, but also, again, let's be geeky and nerdy here. For those 3, and I bet it was those 3, to sit down backstage and go, oh my gosh, I've got it, and then to want to go out there and create emotion and create tension and drama and all of these things, that is why, and you can go through other videos, I've been saying this for a long old while, they're all-time performers. You do not get a 10-year act from a couple of people or a trio of people that don't know what they're doing. There has to be chemistry, and there has to be awareness, and there has to be somewhat of a lack of ego, because if you have a crazy ego, it's only going to take you so far, probably, which is why they're happy to throw pancakes around, because they're just a bunch of fun. And I personally didn't think they'd run out of steam, because I think they're so talented, they always have found a way to make me giggle. But you have to change things up every now and then, and I'm sure they realize this. And after, it's not really been 10 years of them doing this gimmick, but it's been a long old while. It's been a while since they have been a heel. But for them to be aware of that and to go so hard into the opposite direction, I said on the internet that it's one of my favorite modern times TV segments or whatever. And Sean Rossap corrected me. I'm so tired. And said, actually, I think it's like an all-timer, full stop. And he was right. I put my hands up and said, I don't even know why I said that. Sometimes our fingers get carried away. But, I mean, it really, really is, because, again, it's not one of these, I'm repeating myself, it's not a 2 + 2 = potato. We have to walk away going, well, I enjoyed it because I got a pop out of it, but what are you doing? Of course you could understand why 2 people, had they gone off their rockers, has decided, sorry, bro, you left us in the lurch and we're not over it. And in fact, maybe that's one of the reasons we are arguing so much, because you chose, like you say, your girlfriend, your desk job, and your other life, as opposed to come back to the flock. It was brilliant. It was tremendous. It was 5 stars, 6.2 points, 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome. It's everything that I want from professional wrestling. So we're also tapping into the past and we're rewarding you for being a viewer. We've been teasing this breakup for a good couple of months. And I was convinced we were going to do the singles match. Like I really, really were, because I thought it'd have such a novelty, which actually is another point I want to make out. And listen, everybody's allowed their opinion. They truly are. And if it ever sounds like I'm ragging on somebody's opinion, that's my fault. I haven't delivered it in the right way. But you're also allowed to hear somebody's opinion, including mine, and be like, is there something wrong with you, boy? You know, you need to think about this. So many people are so just disrespectful to what these guys bring to the table, because when there was this idea that Xavier could go in one direction and Kofi could go in the other after maybe they did a feud, people were like, oh man, well, they're never going to make it on their own as single stars and blah, blah. And they are better together, but that's just because the New Day is a wonderful group. Could be my greatest group of all time. I really need to think about that. But they have just proven once again that as performers, they would be perfectly fine as long as you give them the stories and as long as you give them the feuds. If you just put them in a match against a wall, of course they're not going to do very well. But if you actually allow them to construct stuff like this and be creative, they're going to be more fine. So I don't want to hear that anymore. They have just knocked a home run that you would not be able to do unless you had the chops to do it. I can't sing its praises enough. Now, I'm never going to watch it again. Again, I said this, I might as well get a knife and just stab myself in the face. I may as well just ring up people I love and tell them that I hate them, so that when I put the phone down, I can feel guilty and horrible inside. It was an excruciating thing to watch, but that's the kind of wrestling I think that reaches the next level, because we all want to be happy and laugh and cheer and do the dance of joy. But when you can extract other emotions, you've hit a new level. So easily the best segment of the year, or at least up there in contention. But when you want to start breaking it down and into the sort of super duper whooper stuff, it's right up there for me. I thought it was great, and I'm so excited to see super asshole New Day. And you know they can pull it off. Of course they can. I'm sure someone has always like, no, they can't pull it off. Okay, maybe they don't, but I would be astounded. And let them sink or swim. Put them in the right things. And Adam Pearce hinted that Finn Balor may be having a tag team challenge soon. Put the belts back on the New Day and let them, they don't need to go on their 464-day reign again, but let them have a real sizey reign. But this time they are cheating, and you're just like, oh, you guys are so horrible. I wasn't entertained by it because it was devastating. But I was so impressed by it, which is a terrible word because I'm taking the kayfabe out of it to use another silly thing. But it's true. It was just a home run stuff, as I've already said, and it really does justify everything they've done. They're all-timers, they're legends. I've always thought this because of the way that they approach wrestling, and that proved it for me. And a lot of these same elements were aware or present in the Seth Rollins CM Punk stuff, using the past, talking about what the future could be, using actual real things the wrestlers are feelings to almost move away from heel and face and just say, hey, here's what I think, and let the fans decide. Because Punk comes out and basically insinuates he's going after a world title. He wants the main event WrestleMania. Seth Rollins comes out and says, dude, I hate you anyway. Now I doubly hated you because you team with Roman Reigns, and they fall out, they get into fisticuffs. Then Sami Zayn comes out because, of course, he's admitted it. We've seen it over the last few weeks. He likes Punk. He likes Seth Rollins. Well, not massively into Punk, but Jay is. And Sami Zayn obviously loves Jay. When he kind of gets into it with Seth Rollins, Seth's like, why did you team with that guy? Why did you bring CM Punk on board? Sami Zayn was like, listen, dude, you hate Roman Reigns, but you're responsible for him. You whacked him with a chair in 2014, which is flipping 10 years ago as well. So this was the 2014 episode, the New Day smashing Roman Reigns with the chair. It's a shame we have shifted the narrative a little bit. Imagine we had that Shield breakup and then we got the Tribal Chief straight away. Technically what Seth Rollins did is he hit Roman Reigns with a chair and it knocked him so loopy he said suffering succotash and tried to be John Cena for a while. Not Roman Reigns' fault at all, by the way, but we know the conversation there. But again, all the barbs they were throwing at each other, like I've already said, you could pick either side. Sami Zayn was telling the truth. Seth Rollins was telling the truth. Why would Seth Rollins ever team with that guy? Why would Sami Zayn do it? They followed very similar pathways, but that's where their characters stand out. Seth Rollins is more stubborn, potentially more affected by what Roman did. I know I'm sounding like an idiot here. You're allowed to get super mad, but I do think this is what WWE wants us to do, whereas Sami Zayn is the big-hearted, lovable, friendly, I'll forgive and I'll try and forget and move forward kind of a guy, which is why he was able to do it. But also, as he continually said, his real catalyst for all of it is Jey Uso. That's his super favorite, right? That's the guy that he really wants to make sure he helps out. And Jey got back in there, so he followed suit too. And of course, they had that main event match, and then Jey Uso got laid out. And then we had the return of Drew McIntyre, which really just capped off, like I say, an incredible episode of Raw. Drew McIntyre was in a hoodie. Shout out to Joe Tessitore. He really did feel like a star, which is a testament to the work that he's done in 2024. And of course, he would want to beat up Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Not only does he have all his past issues with them. But now they're teaming with Roman Reigns again, which was his whole point. Who told us that they would do it? It was Drew McIntyre, the hater of the year, although the New Day may have pipped him, all things considered. But maybe at the moment, the hater of the year and someone who every single step he takes is rooted in the truth, which is why he's such a cool, compelling character. So I cannot wait to see where we're going to go with this. We've essentially set up CM Punk versus everyone. And Sami Zayn is in there. And I do want to see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Like, CM Punk is passing off like, I don't care about you, you're not a world champion anymore. But we've been teasing it so long, I just need to see it for my own intrigue, maybe, for lack of a better term, because I think they would do great. Really happy that we've got an Intercontinental Women's Championship. Really lame that we're doing it the same way that we're doing it on SmackDown. It just kind of feels like paint by the numbers, but sometimes the means outweigh the gain. That's not right as well. Sometimes you need the belts, right? We should have had the belts ages ago. I am much more a one belt kind of a guy, but that's for all of them. One WWE main, one WWE men mid-tier, and vice versa, and all that kind of a jazz. But we're doing two. I just would have preferred it if it wasn't just two triple threat match tournaments. Although Dakota Kai versus Katana Chance versus Shayna Baszler, actually really, really good. Can't justify any of them being in this thing because they never win. But Dakota Kai should probably go on to the finals. Whether or not she becomes the first one, I'm not 100% sure. But she deserves to be put in that spotlight given the work that she has done. And it will be fun. I thought the bracket on the SmackDown side was better than the Raw side, which is no disrespect for the people on the Raw side. There's a few names like, well, they're not going to win. And I guess you could argue it's the same on SmackDown too. But still good, right? I'm glad that we're doing it, and hopefully it creates more opportunities. And Raw and SmackDown are going to be 3 hours each next year. So you may as well load up these cards as best as you can. I like R-Truth versus Pete Dunne. We'll just move on so people don't get mad at me. The Karrion Kross video was excellent. I mean, that guy is the reason the New Day got corrupted and Drew McIntyre got corrupted and everybody else. So I'm glad we're seeing that on too. And everything with Gunther was awesome. The way that we have, here comes that word, organically turned in babyface. I mean, as long as he stays being Gunther and he's the ring general, he holds himself in that way and he runs people down, he doesn't need to change, right? He magically became a good guy just by being himself. So you don't need to, I wouldn't change anything. You'll be the worst thing ever. It's like when Diesel won the World Championship and we made him Hulk Hogan. It was the worst thing that WWE did. That's why business went down, because people wanted to see cool Kevin Nash, and we got stupid Hulk Hogan version 2. But I do like the fact we're doing the Finn Balor feud. I think Finn Balor is underrated as well. What was the line? If you listen to Finn, the Judgment Day will win. Listen, I knew Finn Balor was all time anyway. When he dropped that, I was like, the guy just gets it. Maybe that's the best thing about the WWE roster at the moment. I think they just get it, and maybe egos are at a minimum. I'm sure they have egos, but they're more about the show, which is why it is so compelling. Gunther will win that, of course, but you had Dominic Mysterio versus Gunther, a match I could watch for the rest of my life, really. It's so much fun, because once again, they really understand their characters, so I was into that, and we just talked about the main event. Just wanted to throw it in there again. The Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan versus Damage Control match. I have got a bee in my bonnet now about Liv Morgan being in tag team matches. I know it's stupid. Why do I even care? It's not a big deal. I won't think about it ever again after we'd finished it here. But I just felt like if we knew we were doing the Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez match next week after Rhea got involved and I got squished into Alan the announce table, I would have just had Raquel destroy someone here. That's the best way to build her up and try and get Liv Morgan into those singles feuds, because you've got Io Sky, so that's main event. There's going to be Rhea Ripley. We tease something between Rhea and Io too. I just think moving into 2025, Liv Morgan's had a great year. I think some people are way too harsh on her, and this is the best version of her that she's ever been, which is what you want to be when you're a performer, always growing and evolving. But I think you need to get the title back on Rhea Ripley, and then we just need to go forward. I know I say this on all of my videos, but I have to address it, otherwise people in the comments go nuts. No, I don't mind that Rhea Ripley is Superman. She looks like Superman or Superwoman, whatever you want to call it. She's just like a superbook character, a comic book character, and it's cool, and it's fun. Sometimes I want people to hit by a baseball bat and wrestling and go, not really, because it is not real. You know, of course, this stuff still hurts, and trust me, I do it. Sometimes you wake up and you feel like you've been battered and hit by a truck, but because we are sitting down beforehand, if you want to make someone look like a badass, just do it. Rhea Ripley is a badass, and she gets super duper massive whooper pops. So I don't know why you would do it. We also set up Bron Breakker versus Ludwig Kaiser, which is just the past, the present, the future all coming together. I mean, they could probably main event at WrestleMania one day if we continue to head in the direction we seem to be going. But I really would try and find time to watch Raw this week if you can. I think this is why if it had been an hour longer, I don't think I would have felt the same way about it, which is why these next 3 weeks or so, I'm going to ride them all the way to the bank. And just wonderful. Great stuff. And the fact I was was watching on a plane, I'm sure had a certain novelty factor to it. And the fact that I'd wrestled in Chicago and New York for the last 5 days, that does excite me, which you can watch, by the way, on Demand, Progress, and Triller. You can find it. They're all pay-per-views. They're all signs. You can come tell me, Simon, you suck as a wrestler. What serves me right for going out here and making these videos too. But I've probably forgotten something. You'll have to forgive me because of my daft brain. If you are watching this on day one, don't forget the Cyber Monday. I mean, it doesn't really work as a name anymore. Gorilla Mind sale is still going. Go to GorillaMind.com/Simon and use the code Simon to get up to 50% off, and you get free shipping and Gorilla Bars and entered in a competition to win a Corvette as well. Otherwise, please do come follow me on social media at Simon316. If you're into fitness, you want to train at home, go to GoGo Fitness and use my code Simon20 to get 20% off. It's Anthony GoGo. He knows what he is doing. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo. They've got sales on at the moment too for Cyber Monday. I would do a personalized videos. That is ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller for my pro wrestling merchandise. And come watch me wrestle as well. Where am I Friday? I am in, what's it called? Weymouth for UPW. And Saturday I am, I can't talk about that one. That's a secret. I almost spoiled it. I'll be something on Saturday. I'm a bad pro wrestler. I'm a crap pro wrestler. But thank you to everyone that did come out in Chicago and New York. Some people brought signs. Do you know what that does to my tum-tum? It totally breaks me. So a lot of what I'm talking to you with at the moment is the adrenaline from this last week because I'm so tired. Hence why my hood is up. I'm protecting myself against the ghost. But I love you. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.